Do we answer it? General Krall hovered above his flagship's command pit, mandibles flexing in confusion as Earth's reply signal blinked for the fifth time in 20 seconds. The Armada, 30,000 gleaming warships, had arrived in perfect V formation, engines humming with planet-cracking power. Every species in the galaxy feared the Zor'Vaath. Children were warned to behave, or the Zor'Vaath would conquer their planet. Even comets supposedly changed course when they saw a Zor'Vaath dreadnought approaching. And yet, instead of screams or surrender, Earth had responded with questions. The transmission flicked on. A group of humans sat in what looked like a brightly lit control room, stacked with coffee mugs, sticky notes, and at least 3 people wearing pajamas. "Hi, sorry to bother you," said a human with a headset and zero fear of imminent annihilation. "Quick question. How does your FTL drive avoid temporal compression?" General Krall's primary heart skipped a beat. His secondary heart filed for retirement. That question was classified at the soul level. Entire civilizations have been erased for merely guessing how Zor'Vaath hyperdrives worked. But the human continued, smiling as if he hadn't just committed 14 galactic felonies. Also, follow-up. Is your hull made of neutron-forged alloy? Our intern thinks it is, but I said it looks more like pre-quantum plating. Can you confirm? Confirm? Confirm. The bridge crew stared at Krall in horror, silently begging for orders. But Krall wasn't listening. He was rapidly descending into a philosophical meltdown. How do humans even know these words? Even some Zor'Vaath academies didn't teach pre-quantum plating until year 17. And then came the second hail. A woman appeared on the screen this time, waving cheerfully. "Hi, alien friends. Congrats on the invasion attempt. Super aesthetic. Quick thing, though. Our environment minister wants to know, are your weapons recyclable?" "Recyclable?" Krall echoed, tasting the syllables like poison. "Yes. You know, reduce, reuse, recycle." She smiled. "If you're here to vaporize the planet, we'd like to minimize the carbon footprint. It's Earth Care Week." Behind her, someone shouted, "Ask them if they compost the ashes." The Zor'Vaath comms officer shut off the transmission so fast he strained a tentacle. But the humans just called again, and again, and again. Earth, it seemed, had designated this as casual conversation time. A third video appeared, a teenager scribbling notes on a whiteboard. "Hey, just checking. What energy source powers your shields?" And totally unrelated, "But what reflective index do your armor plates have?" "For science." "For science," someone on Krall's bridge whispered, trembling. The teen nodded enthusiastically. "Yeah, we're doing a school project on alien physics." "You invaded at the perfect time, thanks." Invaded at the perfect time? Was this madness? Were humans immune to fear? Or did they simply not recognize an existential threat, unless it physically knocked over their coffee? Krall felt something he hadn't experienced since childhood: dread. Another incoming transmission. This one audio only. "Hello, aliens. Quick philosophical question. Do you invade because of insecurity, or is it more of a cultural expression?" That was it. That was the moment General Krall realized Earth wasn't a target. It was a trap. A planet filled with weaponized curiosity. A species that interrogated anything that moved or didn't. The Zor'Vaath had arrived expecting to conquer a primitive world. Instead, they found themselves on the defensive, desperately trying not to answer questions that could unravel their empire. And somewhere, deep in his soul, General Krall whispered the first honest thought he'd had in years. "We have made a terrible mistake." The Zor'Vaath made their first tactical error when they attempted a soft landing. Their manuals described it as a gentle intimidation maneuver. Descend slowly, deploy war banners, announce impending conquest with thunderous horns. Very classy, very professional. But the moment their landing thrusters ignited over a quiet park in Colorado, the humans arrived, not with weapons, but with notebooks. Thousands of them. Students, journalists, bloggers, amateur UFO chasers, 3 different documentary crews, and one man holding a sign that said, "Ask me about crystal energy." As the ramps lowered, General Krall stepped forward, radiating menace. His armor glowed with battle light. His soldiers stomped in synchronized formation, mandibles clicking in terrifying unison. Not a single human screamed. Instead, oh, look, it's an alien parade. A woman shoved her phone in Crawl's face. Sir, real quick, can you tell us your species name? And is there, like, a proper pronunciation? I don't want to colonize your culture with bad phonetics. Crawl blinked. Slowly, aggressively. Another human darted in. Hey, are your ships triangular because it's aerodynamically efficient, or are you just compensating for something? A Zor'Vaath soldier whimpered. Then came the journalists. A man with a press badge that looked self-printed pushed forward. Sources say you plan planetary domination. Care to comment? Is there a 5-year roadmap? Are dental benefits included for conquered populations? Behind him, a camerawoman yelled, Can you guys smile? We need a thumbnail. Crawl opened his mandibles to speak, but a hand tugged on his cape. A tiny human child stared up at him with wide, innocent eyes. Excuse me, Mr. Alien, why are you mean? The question hit harder than a plasma bolt. 3 soldiers developed immediate migraines. One tried to crawl back into the ship, but the nightmare was just beginning. Engineers arrived, a swarm of them, carrying clipboards, 3D, printed models, and unearned confidence. Hey, an engineer shouted, pointing at the dreadnought. What's your shield frequency? No reason. Just want to test something. Is your reactor quantum, pre-quantum, or wait, hold still? Yes. I knew it. It's post-quantum stabilized. Barbara, I told you. Barbara fist-bumped him. Crawl tried to regain control. Humans, stand aside. We are here too. What drives your aggression? Interrupted a sociologist, shoving a microphone at him. Trauma? Impulse control issues? Are you projecting unresolved childhood wounds onto entire civilizations? Behind her, a historian shouted, Do you invade because you must, or because you can? Asking for the future chapter I'm writing. Crawl's voice rose. We are mighty conquerors. A bystander nodded, scribbling notes. Fascinating. Delusions of grandeur. Classic apex predator insecurity. Apex what? Crawl sputtered. The humans kept circling, asking, prodding, poking, speculating, hypothesizing, interrogating without mercy. Questions came in layers, waves, synchronized bombardment. What's your political structure? Do you guys have social media? Is it your face, or are you wearing a helmet? How do you mate? Actually, no, wait, scratch that. How many times do you mate? Can we touch your ship? For science. Are you legally required to disclose if you're about to vaporize us? Is your armor flame retardant? Asking because my cousin grills a lot. The final straw came when a conspiracy theorist climbed onto a parked car and shouted, They're here because the government put lizards in the water. Explain yourselves. Half the Zor'Vaath fainted. By sunset, the landing site had become a carnival of curiosity. Humans climbing on alien tanks to take selfies. Kids drawing chalk outlines around confused soldiers. Someone offering Crawl a gluten-free muffin because you look stressed. Zor'Vaath psychologists arrived on site, scanning their troops and whispering grim diagnoses. Cognitive overload. Curiosity trauma. Existential disorientation. Severe question poisoning. One medic looked at Crawl and said quietly, General, they're not afraid of us. They're interviewing us. Crawl stared numbly at the swarm of humans surrounding him, each one armed with unstoppable, reality-breaking questions. No, he croaked. They're not interviewing us. They're dismantling us. And somewhere in the chaos, the same child tugged on his cape again. Hey, Mr. Alien, can I ask you another question? Crawl nearly screamed. This was no invasion. This was an ambush. By the universe's most dangerous weapon. A curious human with free time. By day 3, the Zor'Vaath invasion force resembled less a conquering armada and more a galactic support group for beings traumatized by curiosity. Entire battalions had barricaded themselves inside their own ships, terrified of eye contact with humans. The medics were out of sedatives. The psychologists were out of coping strategies. The generals were out of dignity. And General Crawl, once the feared incinerator of 9 suns, was currently hiding behind a cargo crate, hoping no one would ask him about his childhood again. A junior officer scuttled over. "General, the council awaits your decision." The humans show no signs of stopping. Krall peeked over the crate. Hundreds of humans filled the landing zone again, armed with notebooks, cameras, iced coffees, and unfiltered curiosity. A woman yelled up at a dreadnought. HFY. "Quick question. What's your gravitational tolerance? Want to know if we can take you to Space Mountain when this is over." A group of teenagers tried knocking on the hull of another ship, shouting to the soldiers inside. "Is this vibranium? No. Can we lick it?" A man with a megaphone called across the field. "Aliens. On a scale from 1 to 10. How confident are you with your body image? Be honest." Inside the dreadnought, someone screamed. Krall turned back to his officer, trembling. "We cannot withstand this. Their interrogation tactics defy physics. Every answer spawns 3 more questions. It is a self-replicating cognitive attack." The officer nodded grimly. "General, the troops are begging for retreat." Retreat. The word tasted like ash, humiliation, and a disappointing performance review. But at this point, even Krall couldn't deny reality. He gathered his commanders in the war room. They stood in shaking silence, the trauma of 2 days visible in their hunched shoulders and 1,000-yard stares. Krall took a deep breath. "Comrades, we came to conquer." Everyone flinched at the word. "But instead we have encountered a force unlike any seen in this galaxy. A weapon with no honor, no mercy, no tactical cooldown." "Questions?" whispered a commander, shuddering. "Yes," Krall said. "An infinite barrage of relentless, recursive, reality-peeling questions. We are not equipped for this level of cognitive warfare." Another commander spoke up, voice hollow. "General, I was questioned for 7 hours by a human grandmother. She asked why my species doesn't moisturize. I do not know why. I do not know why." A ripple of empathetic horror went through the room. Krall raised his claws. "We issue a full retreat. Immediately. Quietly. Before they ask more." Everyone agreed instantly. Possibly too instantly. Minutes later, the Zor'Vaath broadcast a message to the people of Earth. "Greetings, humans. We surrender. Please stop asking questions. We will now depart your planet and never, ever return." Applause erupted from the landing zone. Someone shouted, "Wait. Before you go." The entire fleet panicked. "Hurry," barked Krall. "Jump. Jump now. Don't wait for the exit beacons." Dreadnoughts roared into the sky. Frigates launched so fast, several left behind scorch marks, spelling something that looked suspiciously like curses in Zor'Vaath runes. One cruiser jumped early, clipped a cloud, and still didn't slow down. But the humans weren't done. A final transmission pinged the Zor'Vaath command ship just as they entered the upper atmosphere. "Hi, aliens. We know you're busy fleeing, but, quick question, why are you surrendering?" The entire armada collectively shrieked. Ships jumped into hyperspace with such desperation they rattled the dust off nearby moons. Engines burned so brightly they accidentally carved a rude shape into the ionosphere. Several vessels achieved speeds previously considered impossible because physics simply got out of the way. Inside his flagship, Krall slumped into his command chair, mandibles drooping in exhausted despair. "By the stars," he whispered. "Never again. Never a planet with humans. Not even for a flyby. Not even for a parking violation." Across the galaxy, rumors spread like wildfire. Humans. The species that defeated a war armada without firing a single shot. No lasers. No tanks. No superweapons. Just an infinite, unstoppable hailstorm of. But why, though? The Zor'Vaath vowed never to return. And galaxies whispered a new strategic doctrine. If you ever encounter humans, do not engage. Do not threaten. Do not make eye contact. Most importantly, never, under any circumstances, let them ask you a question.